Hey, it's Paul from howtoplaybassdotcom. In today's lesson, we're going to look at the bass line for the Animals version of House of the Rising Sun. Good bass line for beginners to pick up because we've got an 11-bar format which just repeats over and over and over and over again through the song. There's a bass line that goes through that 11-bar format. It's in half notes, which means they last 2 beats. The note locations don't change. The only thing that changes is there's some rhythmic variations, which we'll talk through as we go through the various sections. The main rhythmic variation is the organ solo, where we move into 8th note triplets, etc. We'll come to that in a moment. So it's a really easy song to pick up. The other thing that's good for beginners about this is the range. The bass line starts on A, 7th fret of the D string, goes up to C and D on the G string, down to F, and you're playing these kind of note locations. You're playing higher up in the neck than a lot of conventional bass lines normally do, so you get to learn some note locations in different positions on the bass. Learning the fretboard is part of becoming a better bass player. Now, if you're interested in becoming a better bass player and you are a beginner, if you click the link that's underneath this video, that will take you to some information about a course I've got for beginners, 30 lesson course, lots of song tutorials, lots of information on left hand technique, right hand technique, how to find the notes all over the bass, lots of good stuff. So check that link and go and check that out if you are a beginner, and see if that's of interest to you. Once you've done that, come back here and we'll crack on with the lesson. The full lesson, by the way, with a backing track to play along to, the notes in PDF and notation form, will be a bonus to that course that's listed by clicking the link there. So go do that, and then we'll get started with the 11-bar form of House of the Rising Sun, where the bass comes in, which is the first verse where the vocal comes in as well. Just heard where the bass comes in on verse 1. As I said in the intro, it's an 11-bar format that repeats. So I'm going to play and talk through the notes of this section carefully and in detail, and then in subsequent sections all the note locations stay the same, but there are some slight rhythmic variations. So learn this section first, because I won't do fret locations again in the subsequent section. So it starts off A, 7th fret of the D string, C, 5th fret of the G string, D, 7th fret of the G string, F, 3rd fret of the D string, back to A, 7th fret, back to C, 5th fret of the G string, down to E, 7th fret of the A string, twice. Back to A, the 7th fret of the D string, up to C, 5th fret of the G string, to D at the 7th fret of the G string again, down to F, 3rd fret of the D string, A, 7th fret of the D string, E, 7th fret of the A string, and then kind of like the turnaround tag, A, C, D, F, A, E, A, E. So it's fairly straightforward. All those note locations are fairly easy. I'll play through the complete 11-bar format without talking note locations over the top, but I'll just say the notes. A, C, D, F, A, C, E, E, A, C, D, F, A, E, A, C, D, F, A, E, A, E. Okay, so learn that thoroughly first. That's repeated without variation in verse 2. Exactly the same. We'll move on then to the third time through the format, where there's a slight rhythmic variation. Okay, you just heard the third time through the format. We've got two slight rhythmic variations. We've got one in the first bar, and then we've got one in the last 4 bars, which sets up the major rhythmic variation, which is the organ solo. We'll deal with that in the next section of the tutorial. So in the first bar, instead of playing, we're going to play. So we're playing A, C, 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 D. Then we're back to the normal pattern, F, A, C, E, E, A, C, D, F, A, E. And here we've got more variations, last 4 bars we're going to play. I'll play the 4 bars. Okay, so most of it's quarter notes instead of playing them in half notes, but the first bar of that last 4 bars is. So you're playing 2 A's as quarter notes, then you're playing C, 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 and then up to D, back to F, A, E, E, A, E, E, and that's quarter notes again. So those are the 2 rhythmic variations in that section. Then we come to the next section of the tune with the biggest rhythmic variations. It's nearly all played in triplets. It's the organ solo. So let's go and look at that section. Okay, you just heard the organ solo being played with the slowed down backing track. Starts off with A in a half note, and then we're going to play C like that, and then we're going to move into 8th note triplets, which are going to pretty much follow the note locations we've already done. There's one variation on note. So the first bar again. Okay, then we're on to the second bar. We're going to go to 8th note triplets. And that was D and F. Then we're going to go back to A, C, E, A, C, D, F, A, E, A. And there's this little variation there. We go back to A, E, C, D, F, A, E, A, E, and then we'll be back into the form. So there's a slight variation on the notes there. So what's happening? You go from that A to E, and then where you'd expect in the normal form to play A, C, D, F, you play A, E, C, and then up to D, and then back to the the normal pattern you'd expect. So there's a slight change there. Listen again to the play along at the start of this section of the tutorial and you pick that up. Something that's worth noting and picking up, as it's the only major difference in note location that happens in the entire tune. After this, we've got two more vocal verses. Basically use the verse that we started out with just in half notes. The first one of these vocal verses after the organ solo does have a slight variation in the very last 4 bars, which I'll just quickly play. And then we get to the verse again, or the 11 bar form starts again. Again, we're going to just use half notes for the next one, and that'll lead us to the last verse and the outro, which we'll pick up in the next section. It'll be a section on its own. Okay, just had the last verse and the outro. Very straightforward. Mostly it's the kind of stuff we've done before. The verse starts out with that before it settles into the 2-beat rhythm. The verse then wends its way through the rest of the notes that you should be familiar with now. And here's where we start to change, and the tune starts to slow down here, and what we've got is 4 bars where we go from A to D instead of E. A to D, 5th fret of the A string, A to D, A to D, and then there's a run, and that run is 8th note triplets, and we're going to play so we're playing A, G, F, A and G, 7th and 5th fret of the D string, F the 8th fret of the A string. Then we're playing, repeating that pattern but a string down, so we're playing E, D, C, 7th and 5th of the A string, 8th of the E string. Then we're playing 3 E's at the 7th fret of the A string. Then we're going to play F, F sharp, G, 8th, 9th and 10th fret of the A string, and then finish up on A, 7th fret of the D string, of course. So I play that again slowly. And that finishes the tune. You put those sections together and you can play through the tune.